My human, that's human mom, is pretty good at ignoring the mess my sisters make, better at cleaning in a rush. But when mom and dad get together to clean, it's hilarious how easily they get distracted by my sister's stupidity. Why internet isn't playing the right sea shanty, and the array of half-finished projects left all over the house. I'm going to make myself a snack while we watch this shit show.
Welcome to my white trashy home, and have I got a fun story for you today? It was a beautiful Saturday morning. We had no plans today, so I was leisurely studying Duolingo, because I will literally die if I get demoted again. I was blissfully ignoring the dust bunnies and dog hair on the sofa, the floor, and even the television. Home sweet fur everywhere home, but then my language learning bliss was interrupted, and I risked being demoted back to Obsidian League. This fantastic home was in desperate need of a speed cleaning job. My mother-in-law called to let me know she wanted to stop by this afternoon to discuss something important. Oh crap, my house looks and smells like an animal rescue. I had less than 3 hours to fix that. Her house is always perfect. My beloved husband puts up with my canine addiction. He loves me and he knows I love dogs and can barely resist a stray. His mother is awesome at everything but believes dogs should live outside. I, on the other hand, keep my dogs inside because who doesn't want dog fur everywhere in the house? I'm usually nose blind to the smell of my dogs, but now with this new factoid and pending visit, I smell nothing but dog butt, see nothing but dog hair, and I'm feeling a little itchy now. Getting ready for mother-in-law's visit is going to be a challenge. There's dog toys and fur everywhere. The house smells like dog, and there's a pile of dishes in the sink. Where do I begin? I think to myself as I exhale dramatically. But then, I inhaled the scent of my 3 dogs. That little voice inside my head says, light one of those pet odor neutralizing candles. Dumbass. Sometimes my brain doesn't talk nicely to me, but I took its advice anyway. Finding the candle lighter right where it belonged felt like a mini victory. Yay me! Now onto the dishes. I planned to load the dishwasher, but I couldn't do that until I unloaded the clean dishes first. I got that done relatively quickly, and I felt like I was on my way to major accomplishments. But then, just as I was about to start dish-shedding the house, the doggy door slammed open. Gia, my female Jack Russell lab mix, runs through the kitchen with something furry and squirming in her mouth. To-do list, temporarily paused. WTF did the dog do mode engaged? Gia decided the best place to play with her new toy was under my daughter Angela's bed. As I was creating a plan, my thoughts were interrupted by a loud thud against the back door, the doggy door. There I witnessed the most ridiculous and adorable sight. My depth perception challenged dog, Ripley, found her own prize. A branch had fallen into our yard. It was too large and too long to fit through the doggy door. But that didn't keep her from trying. Again and again. Ripley's lack of spatial awareness was not my primary concern at that moment. I had to get back to the squirming furry thing. There's no squeaky in it, Gia. Just drop the fluffy thing, I shouted. Shockingly, she didn't. I called my husband over to help. The plan was that Todd would get the animal. Todd didn't know the plan yet, and I would get the treats to lure Gia away from her new furry captive friend. What's going on, honey? He asked. Gia has something under the bed, I told him as I pointed to the bed. What is it? He asked. Alive, I think, I told him. I'm getting treats for Gia. Here's a broom to move whatever that is out. I grabbed the pepperonis, but figured I'd need something better than pepperonis to get her to give up her living, breathing squeaky toy that I told her had no squeaky. I grabbed some stinky roast beef from the cold-cut drawer in the refrigerator and the pepperoni bag. The sound of bags that might contain food usually gets her attention. Once I arrived back, Todd was trying to coax Gia away from what I was just informed was a possum. I was half relieved that it wasn't my neighbor's cat, but I'd have an easier time getting the cat out of the house than the possum. It didn't take long. The sound of a crinkling bag to distract Gia temporarily, but then possum play continued. I waved the heavily scented roast beef and that worked. Gia followed the roast beef and I placed it in her kennel and shut the door. Gia is now secured. Now to help Todd with the possum. The possum was playing possum and refusing to move from under the bed even with the push broom. Therefore, we had to grab the flat shovel. We meant to put away but didn't, thank God. And a chewy box also, which we've been meaning to throw away but didn't. Sometimes lazy sloppy does come in handy. I handed Todd the shovel and he handed it back to me. Todd held the chewy box and I pushed the possum into the box. Freeing the possum from Gia was easy. Getting the stupid thing into a chewy box slightly more challenging, but we did it. But here's where things got interesting or annoying or both. Our dog buddy, you know, the one who blamed his sisters for the messy house and thought eating a snack while watching our shit show was a good idea, he decided to watch from under Todd's faster than usual moving feet. Todd regained his balance, but lost control of the chewy box, causing the panicked possum to abscond from air jail and run through the house like a chicken with its head detached. This would be hilarious if it was happening to someone else, so I hope y'all are enjoying it. Those things are faster than you think, and this one smelled worse than my dog's. The stupid marsupial ran back to the room we liberated him from. But this time, instead of going under the bed, he ran right into Ripley's kennel and started eating the crumbs of food on her kennel floor. Thankfully, Ripley was still in the yard, arguing with the branch that wouldn't fit through the doggy door. We slammed and locked the cage door. This startled the animal. To say the least, he was pissed. I'm beginning to grow attached to this little fellow. Todd, he's kinda cute, I said. As Todd rolled his eyes, the dogs must have heard my observation because even more chaos ensued. Gia started barking from her kennel. Ripley abandoned her branch in the house project to give attention to whatever Gia was barking about. Ripley, followed closely by Buddy, came into the living room as we were carrying the kennel out. Both dogs must have been shocked to watch us carrying Gia's prize around in Ripley's kennel. First, Ripley stopped short, causing Buddy to run right into Ripley's ass. Ripley and Buddy then engaged in a short barking argument. But that disagreement didn't last long. Both dogs quickly realized they wanted to collectively object to the presence of pesky Possum. We were not going to be able to get the now peeing Possum out of the house with the mostly peaceful canine protest blocking our path to the front door. We put the kennel down and threw a blanket over it. It's supposed to calm the animals. Our dogs could smell the possum, but they couldn't see it. Therefore, we were able to distract our treat-motivated puppers with the remaining roast beef and lure Ripley and Buddy to the back office. As I shut the door to the office, I looked at my Fitbit and noticed that I almost met my walking goal. Oh yeah, and we just spent an hour and a half playing Possum, leaving us now less than 2 hours to start figuring out how to hide our crazy mess. At least the candle was somewhat absorbing the odor and the house smells more like fresh candle and less like dog. Possums are not as cooperative as you might think. We attempted to liberate the animal, but Gia must have caught the stupidest, most annoying marsupial in the world. This slightly adorable thing decided he identified as a squatter. We started to try to argue with the animal, but almost simultaneously Todd and I decided to leave the animal alone and come back for the kennel later in the day. We are now down to less than an hour to get the house ready for Todd's mom. And the important discussion? It just occurred to me she wanted to discuss something important. I wondered what it was, but then I noticed someone threw up in the living room. I grabbed the Odo band and sprayed the floor, let it set for a minute. Todd grabbed the broom and started to sweep. I pressed the clean button on Steve, the shark robot vacuum, grabbed the fur dozer to get the fur off the sofa. But then, I remembered that I bought an ozone machine. I can use it to make at least one of the rooms smell better fast, I thought to myself. I excitedly opened the box. What the hell is this blue door hanger thing for? Okay, so the ozone machine will be tested, but not today. Apparently, we would need to evacuate the house while the machine is running, so I just swept the floor to make sure Steve could vacuum without accidentally choking on anything, sprayed the sheets and bedding with curtains with Lysol and Febreze. Angela's room was relatively clean and fresh-smelling, but what about the rest of the house? As I walked out of the bedroom, I noticed that Steve was actually doing his job. The house was looking better and smelling a lot more like fresh linen than dog butt. Looks like we made it, but was it good enough? Did the possum ever evacuate Ripley's kennel? What was the important thing Todd's mom wanted to tell us? Click like and subscribe to find out, and let us know in the comment section what you think happened to the possum.